Good morning, everybody. This is Josh Ellsworth, and welcome to today's broadcast of Making It Together. We are on day 7, and I have a lot of exciting things to talk to you about today. But first, I'd love for you to shout out who you are, where you're watching from, so we can say hello and good morning. I am operating in about a 7-foot by 7-foot space within a spare bedroom at my home, bringing you education on all things heat printing, showing you projects that you can make with a heat press, how you can make money during this downturn, how you can work and plan on your business to make money when we come out of this thing. Everything with a heat press and a little bit with a vinyl cutter is we're going to get into today. So we had a fair amount of surveys completed, and so that's something that we'll share with you in the comment string in today's broadcast, is where you can complete that survey. And I read those surveys every day. And the last question on the survey is, what would you like to see in future broadcasts? And that helps me with ideas. It helps me give you content that matters to your business. And had quite a few that really like day 4 of our broadcast, where we did a project all the way from start in the design process to finish. And so we're going to incorporate that as part of our session today, be able to set something up, show you a little bit of very simple design work, because I'm not a graphic designer, but I like to keep things simple, and we'll give you some tips on what I can do. I've connected my vinyl cutter here today, so we'll cut a product that I think maybe you've used in your business, maybe you haven't. It's a special effect material that we've been seeing really good growth in, that presents some opportunities for you. And then we'll do a heat application, and we're going to show you some unique items to heat apply, so you can perhaps establish a new concept, a new revenue stream that I think will be timely right now, and perhaps put you into some new markets, diversifying your business and who you sell to in the future. So good to see folks on from South Carolina, Pam from a basement somewhere in Kansas. All right. Basement in Kansas. That's great. Kristen from Oklahoma, Jan from Bedford, Texas, also George from Ghana. Great to see you, George. Thanks for joining. Stephanie from Wisconsin, and Craig from Washington, Rosemary from Minnesota. So we have many states represented, a couple different continents represented, and our friends over at Target Transfers are here this morning from the UK. So we welcome you folks, and thank you all joining from across the pond and enjoying these live sessions with us. I think it's evening there. Not very good on time zones, but I'm guessing you're joining us somewhere around the 8 o'clock hour, would be my guess. So today's topic is all about a start to finish project. But before we get into today's topic, I want to share with you something that we're going to publish just shortly. You're going to get the first preview of it. If I were a rap star, I'd be dropping my album right now. So we're going to drop this content to you. It's called the Apparel Decorating Business Survival Guide. The reason that I wrote this, along with help from some of my colleagues here at Stahls, is because I think the next 30 to 60 days are really critical for you if you have a business. You're probably realizing that you're trying to stay afloat. Certainly if you have a brick and mortar business and you have employees, even if you don't, you're probably still working hard to try to establish some supplemental income and get everything you can during this time. So I wrote a apparel decorating business survival guide. I'm going to pop it up on the screen for you and share it so we can take a look. I'm not going to go through all of the details, but I'm going to give you the highlights, and then we're going to share a link where you can download this. And basically the premise of this is, what can you do and what should you do right now to be able to help you in your apparel decorating business. This is geared a little bit specific to the heat printer, somebody that's decorating with a heat press, which is the majority of our audience, or even if you own a heat press. But I think there's also some takeaways for embroidery and screen printing only businesses. You'll start to see how you can pivot a little quicker, and how a heat press can really help you during this downturn. So if I kind of scroll through this, I'm not going to give you all of the meat of the contents, but I'll give you the highlights. There's a little bit of an introduction, kind of frames why it was created. And then it goes through some must-haves during a pandemic, during a situation like we are experiencing today, in websites. And so we will give you some specific ideas on selling online during this time, where social contact is limited and we've shut down a lot of retail storefronts and face-to-face interaction, certainly across the country and around the world. you will see how you can start selling online and what you can do right now to sell online. We've also popped up some concept stores that help to illustrate those points that you can click through when you download this guide and visit. And so it talks a little bit about that. It talks a little bit about selling online, business to consumer, and gives you some ideas there that you can capitalize on. Jenna popped up these stores for us in record time over the weekend and yesterday, so we could publish this guide very quickly for you. And then it also talks about how we can help. And if you read this guide, you're going to see a really nice free gift that I think you're going to appreciate in your business when cash flow is really important and you don't want to be putting out money. So you'll have to read the guide to get that. But I think you're going to love what we're going to give you for the next 90-day period to be able to help you and help your business. Because as we say, if you don't succeed, we don't succeed. Next is number 2. You will see a work from home plan and some considerations on work from home. We think that's critical as you try to connect your business and continue to produce the orders that you do have in-house. Even if it's a downturn, you want to collect that revenue. So you'll see a lot of ideas on that, all the way from technology to popular transfer types to how you should be thinking when you create artwork and quote new business or develop an online store. You'll also see a breakdown of material utilization by color, where we're going to help you to stock your vinyl for producing orders right now. And then you will see a promo code to get free shipping if you want to stock up on vinyl so you can keep printing orders even if your suppliers, including us, God forbid, shut down during this time. But we've stood up redundancy and are doing everything to keep all of our supply chain completely open. We are still shipping from our Transfer Express locations as well as Stahls locations that stock vinyl. We've had some interruption in service to certain facilities, but because we have multiple facilities, we're able to kind of move the work, pick up, and make sure we get it there to you quickly still. So you can read through all that. There are 4 points here, so it doesn't go forever. Number 3 is support and collaboration. So you guys are already well connected, but we're going to email this out to all of our customers. But it talks about our event that you're attending now, as well as our Heat Press for Profit group. So hopefully we see a increase in collaboration. And then lastly, it talks about must-have after pandemic, which is customers coming out of this thing. And it gives you 7 ideas to be able to create lifetime loyalty with your actions and what you do during this time. So again, that is our guide, our survival guide that we think you should read and take a look at implementing over the next 30 to 60 days so you can go into business survival mode and be able to continue to have work in your business. So we're excited to be able to publish that. I think you guys are going to love it. Share your ideas when we publish it, because of course we don't know everything. You guys are living the real life there and trying to stay afloat. And I'm sure you've been researching. There's certainly other guides that have been published that are out there that are general business guides. We wanted to make sure we came to bat and not only published a guide for somebody that owns a heat press as in our world of heat pressing for profit, but also to be able to step up and give you some free tools and offers to use during this time, some that are completely free that I think will help you take the next step in your business. So Ramona, Patrice, you're welcome. We're happy to publish this. Ian, hi from the UK. Patrice from Fort Worth, Texas. AJ from Chicago. Good morning, Michelle. We have a great crew on today. Lots of people watching. So if you're just joining, this is our Making It Together live educational events, going live every weekday through the month of March and possibly well beyond that. We're going to kind of figure that out towards the beginning of next week. But our goal is to continue to come to you with live educational content so you can work on your business. So again, please fill out the survey link if you haven't already. That will make sure you're entered into the giveaways. And we are going to make Fridays our giveaway day. And we're going to do giveaways during our live Friday event for everybody that's completed that survey across the last week and a half and continuing. You only need to complete it once. So, all right, here we go. The topic today is a project from start to finish. So let me kind of rewind and talk a little bit about my experience in some of this area. So we carry a wide variety of CAD cut heat transfer vinyl materials that can be cut on a vinyl cutter for personalization, made to order, low to mid quantity is what we like to say. Within that line, we definitely have our core products that are extremely popular. They're products like thermofilm for athletic uniforms, Premium Plus, which is a product with a soft touch and feel. It's actually what I'm wearing on my shirt here today. It feels like it's not even on the garment. And products like Fashion Film, which is one of our top products for t-shirt application. So there's a lot of basic materials that are out there. However, we have also seen a lot of growth in special effect heat transfer vinyl. So undoubtedly, you've probably heard about bling effects like glitter flake and metallic. So those continue to do well. We're seeing glitter flake continue to grow, plateau a little bit, but metallic is taking off, and foil results, we're seeing a lot of growth there. But a product that we've thought should be growing for the whole 20 years I was here that's finally growing at a really good rate is a product that we call Flock. And Flock is a fuzzy textured heat transfer product. I won't even call it a vinyl because it's a rayon-based fabric, or some brands are polyester-based, and it's just a really nice plush result. So I'm going to share the screen again and give you kind of a tour through our website. Let me go a little bigger on the screen. If I come over here and show you over on Stahls.com, which is where I'm at, if you go to CAD-Cut Direct, which is the name brand of our heat transfer vinyl, you can go into the heat transfer vinyl category and you can find Flock. It's all alphabetical here on the right, right here. It's called Flock 2. It's just the latest version of our Flock material. Now, as you can see on the product page that I have here, Flock comes in a nice variety of colors. We're going to teach you how to cut it and heat apply it today with a unique project. Looking like 22 colors are currently offered in Flock, so it's a good range. And one of the reasons I like Flock is because of how soft it is. So I've seen some customers use it actually for indoor sports, because when you think about sliding across the court or the ground, vinyl tends to catch and screen printing tends to catch and stop the athlete a little bit, whereas Flock just keeps you moving. So I've seen it used a lot for indoor soccer, things of that nature. But I've also seen it used a lot as an alternative to left chest logos. And so the logo like I'm wearing here, that could be done in Flock. It's a nice alternate to embroidery. We've shown it like that in lots of our videos over the years, so I'm not going to teach you that part today, but no, you can use Flock like that. On any of our product pages, if we look back over in the screen to the website, we have a little tab here called a user guide. That's going to give you everything you need to know about cutting and applying the material. So you'll see our recommended cut specs with a fresh blade. You'll see the application instructions with the time, temperature, and the pressure, as well as the peel, whether you peel it hot, cold, etc. And you'll see a combination chart, how I can layer it, which is really important. So I know that's tough to see on the screen, but I showed you how to get to the webpage on Stahls.com. You can read how to utilize Flock. I already have my heat press booted up to 330 degrees for the time. And Flock is a product, as we're seeing in the comments, that's trending all over the world. And Pam's actually working with Flock while she's watching here. So we'll be working with it together. So now that we understand the product that we're going to be using, I'll rewind to, the last event I was at. I was in Las Vegas, probably, gosh, it was over Valentine's Day, right before, right after Valentine's Day. And there was a convention there that it was basically an embroidery dealer show that we were at. And at that embroidery dealer show, very small show, we had a booth there showing our heat transfer vinyl and its uses for embroiderers. But I was walking the aisles, and I happened to be in an aisle, and I noticed all these stuffed animals. And for anybody that's ever attended a promo product show, you probably see a lot of stuffed animals. But because the show was a little bit slower, I decided to stop in, say hello, shake a hand, and say, hey, I think our apparel decorating customers could really have an opportunity with decorating stuffed animals. And actually, if you listen to the Heat Press for Profit podcast that we publish, it's out there wherever you subscribe to podcasts. One of my recent interviews talked about stuffed animals as a revenue stream, a company called Sparkly Tees out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And so I met a supplier there who supplies blank stuffed animals. I was like, aha, here is a moment, here is an opportunity. So a couple ways you can capitalize on this. One, we'll bring my cute little stuffed animal into play here. I had an opportunity to talk with her, and we spoke, and funny enough, she had actually had dinner with Ted Stahl at an Atlantic City event many years ago, and she remembered the interaction because they had some great conversation. But this she gave me some stuffed animals and said, sure, I'd love if you did some videos on how to decorate these. So these are called Embroider Buddy stuffed animals. Take this tip. When she gave me the sample, she stapled her business card to it. So that's a great sales tip. But if you go to embroiderbuddy.com, and I'll share that with you here in a second to show you all the cool stuffed animals, they come like this, and they're a little bit larger than a lot of the small stuffed animals you see. And the cool thing about this product is that it unzips because it's designed to be hooped. So all of these stuffed animals unzip. There's a pocket here, and the stuffing comes right out. And now I have a stuffed animal that can be sewn or heat pressed. This is plush. Presumably this is going to be given to somebody that's going to have it cuddling with it, feel soft, like one of those opportunities for a kid or beyond into the adult years. I think it's just a nice gift and a nice gesture to gift a personalized item like this. This is something now that we can customize with the heat press, and right in my mind, Flock 2 is the right product for this type of fabric, whether it's a stuffed animal fabric, something plush, or a blanket, any of those soft elements, you're going to want something soft to match it. So I'm going to leave this unicorn unstuffed, and we're going to press it here in a second. But before we do that, let me go over to her website. And again, it's called embroiderbuddy.com. It won't let you access the pricing, and I won't share the pricing live on air because they have the ability to do a retail partner registration or to apply to become a reseller. So you can apply to that, and I'm sure you can get access to this if you have a apparel decorating business, website, etc., tax ID. But you can see, wow, they're right on trend. They have the sloths, they have all the bunnies, which are going to be popular now for Easter. The chicks can be popular for Easter. You start to think of different ideas. So I just wanted you to see here that there is a huge selection of products that are made with this in mind. Even the elephant, so you get 2 customization zones, the body and the ear potentially. So think of opportunities. And I actually ask you guys, why don't you contribute opportunities that are coming to your mind for this in the content stream? I think of things like birth dates for sure. The thing we covered on the first episode, which was celebrating months. So some subscription package where the child gets a new stuffed animal every month or every year, something like that. But there is certainly a lot of opportunities. So the unzip is really a cool part of it. So share those ideas with your colleagues so we can all get ideas on how to what we should be customizing for. Now, in addition to this, if for some reason you don't want to source the stuffed animals ready to press, at Stahls we have these little cute things that everybody always wants when we go to trade shows. They're called miniature tees. And so these miniature tees are another item that you can press and then, of course, put on any stuffed animal or normal sized dolls, babies that will fit into this. And so I remembered whenever my daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, we were in the hospital and we happened to get this bear that was brought in and given to her while we were there. And it has all this branding. So think of promotional products. This is Junior Diabetes Research Foundation. It has a logo that's screen printed transfer that's applied on there. They need a little bit more pressure because it's starting to lift here and hasn't even been washed. But this is an opportunity. So think of promo products for fundraising, for causes, for even corporate branding. So we have sort of Quest Diagnostics that must have sponsored this. So there are probably companies in your communities that are connected to hospitals, gift shops, things like that, that you can partner with to be able to get more volume into a program like this. So all kinds of opportunities. So of course I took our mini tee, I took and applied it or put it on top of another bear, and we can customize this, of course, with any message. You can press these mini tees. Those are available over at stahls.com. They've been linked in the comment threads. Right now we sell white and black in packs of 10. Not only is it good for stuffed animals, it's a great opportunity even for a direct mail sample for a t-shirt mock-up if you're trying to get a new customer and want something cool that's a little bit more tangible than just a letter or a brochure. Okay, and Patrice's miniature chihuahua wears the mini tees. I think we're going to have to see a picture, Patrice, at some point. All right, so with that in mind, I want to get to the project a little bit. So I want to show you first how to load the stuffed animal. We'll keep the stuffed animal loaded, and then we'll come back and we'll design something for it. So we should be able to get a decent look at the heat press here. I do this at almost every class I do, is change the platen. So you're realizing how important changing these platens are. I have the 16 by 20. I'm going to unload it from my Hotronix autoclam heat press, place it to the side. And then there's a lot of different platens. For this particular case, I'm going to select the 7-inch round. So we use this for the top of bucket caps. We've used this for the end of tote bags, some different applications. It's kind of a unique size. I've used it for TV numbers, the shoulder numbers on top of a football jersey, or the sleeve numbers. It's a very nice use for that. But it also is going to work well here. So you're just going to drop your attachment in, and you could certainly insert something into the stuffed animal, but you have to be able to try to get this flat onto your heat press. And so in order to do that, I'm just going to open up the zone that I removed the stuffing from, which was a nice easy removal, and I'm going to thread it on. So a fusion heat press, if you have that, is going to be the best because it's a really narrow throat, but you can still do it on your autoclam heat press. All you need to do is be able to kind of adjust it on here and kind of finagle it on a bit, and then you kind of get this idea of the stuffed animal loaded on with a flat printing surface. You can kind of see the heat press will hit this, but it's just going to bend it and rest against the face of the unicorn here and get it out of the way. I have a nice flat printing area that I'm just going to make sure is nicely stretched when I lay out my design. So all set up, ready to go, and ready to heat press there. And I'm still going to follow my normal preheat steps and everything that goes into it. So with that, now I need to create some artwork and show you how to do that, what may want to go on this particular product. So I'm going to go to our free design software, which is CAD-Works This is something you can sign up with for free, watch training videos that we have on our Stahls TV YouTube page, and learn how to use in your downtime. It's super easy, especially for somebody that doesn't design like me. And I decided that I want to mail this to my particular niece for this opportunity and do a personalized product. So think about this. You could offer these stuffed animals in the context of a web store and allow personalization of text. So let's do a little bit more than text. I'm going to look for a heart clip art, and I'm going to show you how to drop some text in there. And we're going to do single color flock. So I'll drop the shape of a heart in first. And we're going to start with that. Let me zoom to fit here. And then I am going to add some text as well. Her name is Nora, so we'll drop that in. And then I usually like a script font for the look that I'm going for. So let me go to the script fonts. CAD-Works has a lot of fonts available in it. You can also upload your own font down in the bottom right-hand corner there if you have a font that you want to use. In this case, let me see what brush script looks like. It'll take a second to update the font. And I think that looks pretty good. So the other thing I want to do, I really want to only use one color. So I'm going to look to create some distance where this text is going to overlap the edges of the heart. I want the text to be a little bigger and kind of go across the heart. And so I'm going to need kind of an outline to be able to knock that out. So the cool thing about CAD-Works is you can click Add Effect at any time in this editor. And I can actually add what's called a contour effect or an outline. So I'm going to pick this small contour since I'm dealing with some small text, but there's all of these effects that you can instantly apply to text, making it really easy. So I'll click OK. It will give me an outline around it. And then I'm going to click OK, that I'm happy with what's been created there. At that point, I can size this how I want. Let me zoom back out just a little bit so I can see it. I'd like this to be a little bit smaller when I think about it in context of the heart. I think I'd like it to be at an angle as well. So it's important I get it into the correct positioning that I'm going to want. And then basically I need to punch it out. So in order to punch it out, I'm going to break apart these two components, because I always like to say the silver layer here, the outline, is my cookie cutter. I want to use that cookie cutter and I want to punch it straight through that heart, so I'm not getting the overlap there. So I need to go up to shaping, and there's a couple different ways to break apart. I can break apart by colors, which is going to be the choice that I want to use here, regions or curves. So colors is pretty self-explanatory. Regions basically means I want to separate the different components of the design that are grouped. And curves means I'm going to separate all the details. So it actually separate the center of the A from the outside of the A, which is the most detailed break apart you can get. In this case, again, I'm going to break it apart by colors. And that's going to give me just the ability to move my black text away for a second, and I'll bring it back later at the same size. So at this point, I need to punch this through. So I'm going to grab my silver layer. I'm also going to hold control and grab my back layer. And then I go up and do a command called front minus back. Oh, let me undo that. I always get that backwards. It actually punched the black layer through the gray. So let me do it again. You can also click and drag a box through it. Back minus front was the correct command. And so anytime you want to undo, you can just click undo, or you can click Control Z, and it'll go back. So once I've punched it through with the back minus front command, I'm going to move that out of the way, and I can actually delete it. I don't need it anymore. And you can see now I have the heart with those open spaces, and it's prepared for this text to go in. Now I am working with Flock, and so odds are this little detail probably is not going to hold when I weed it. So I want to be aware of that. I can either delete it in this step, or I can just know, since I'm only doing one, that I'm going to weed it away and make sure it's not remaining anywhere on my screen. But I'm happy with this design. Now I can select it all, make sure it's all the sizing I want. In this case, again, I'm operating on a 7-inch round platen. The chest area of that unicorn that we have loaded is a little bit smaller than that. So I think my 5-inch wide is probably about good. So I'm going to change it to 5-inch, and it'll be 4.22 tall. Now, I also have another design I want to create really quick, also for my nephew, that's going to go on to a stuffed football. And so let me add clip art for that as well. I'm just going to do a football helmet, since we are actually doing the football. So all these pieces of vector clip art, they're ready to cut. They're included in CAD-Works, and you can design from them. So in this case, I grab my football helmet, and again, I want to add his name here. So I'm just going to add text. Do it on all caps and more of an athletic, sporty font. Click OK, and then I'll be able to size the text. Again, make it just a color that I want. In this case, I'm going to punch it through because I only want to do a single color of Flock, and drop it into a screen. This would also be a great place where I can put his number for his jersey, whatever that might be. But you get the idea. It's very quick, very easy. Set it up, size it to fit your item that you're printing. And I've created a cut file. When I go down into my wireframe view down in the bottom right, we'll see what the actual vinyl cutter sees. So it's going to cut all this. I'm glad I did that. So that is a tip that I always recommend you do. In the process of teaching this, I forgot to weld my text. You see how this is kind of overrunning into the letters. We showed you that on one of the classes the other day. All I need to do is select that object, and then I'm going to go up into shaping and click weld, and it's going to group all those together and make it one seamless piece. So that's always a good thing to look at before you send it to the cutter. And now you can see it got rid of all those sort of cut through areas that would have split and shown in my design. And yeah, you can definitely use the round platen on your Fusion, your Air Fusion, anything with interchangeable platens. The 7-inch round platen will work, and all the platens are available on Stahls.com. So once I'm complete with this, for those of you that may not have used CAD-Works before, you can manage a whole library here. You can save this design, and then it will save only under your login, so nobody else is going to see it. And then that'll just save all your designs to the cloud. You can also export this. So if you're operating off a vinyl cutter, or you want to bring it into Corel or Illustrator, you can export it in any of the file types that are listed here. And there's a large variety of file types, including vector PDF or PLT, which are pretty universal. If you don't have what's called a driver for your vinyl cutter, we give you a free one. It's called Vector Cut. And now I've already downloaded Vector Cut. I'll show you how to get that in a second. But the cool thing about that is when you're in CAD-Works, I can just go to File, send a vector cut, and it automatically pulls that design out of the cloud down to my bottom toolbar. So it downloaded now off of the internet. This is a web-based design platform that you can do anywhere, and it downloaded it to my local device. And so now it opened Vector Cut. I need to slide it over to my screen so you guys can see it. And if I zoom, you'll see I have an indication of all of the cut lines that I just saw and my material that we would be utilizing. So in this case, I'm going to get rid of this margin offset. I'm really not a big fan of that, so I usually zero this out. That just kind of shows the edge of the material. And then I'm going to always mirror it. So anytime you're cutting flock or any heat transfer vinyl, you're going to mirror your design. And I always like to do what's called auto origin, which basically brings it down to the very bottom right-hand corner of my material, so I'm not generating any waste. So with that in mind, I have my GraphTech selected that I installed the driver for this morning, and I'm ready to send my cut job. But let me move back to the screen, take a look for any questions, and set up my material in my cutter. So appreciate you all that are sharing your ideas on the way the animals can be personalized and made. So great ideas, baby shower gifts, birth announcements, seeing it, animals could be personalized. Let's see, Karen's ideas, animals could be personalized for a mascot for school sales, bear, lion, shark, etc. So that's awesome idea, especially when there's a mascot involved. We're seeing here, Ramona says that would be perfect for baby shower gifts. And then our team at Stahls said birth announcements would also be a great idea. So all of those things. So let me just tilt this a little bit so you can get a better view of my cutter. Going to stand up here and show you how this works as best I can from a short distance here. So this is the GraphTech CE6000. You can use any vinyl cutter to cut the flock material, but the flock material does come in a 20-inch wide roll. So in this case, the adhesive side is of course up that I'm going to be cutting through. I did a test this morning when I was setting up my driver. And then the backside is going to be the actual color of the film. So a lot of people get the flock swatches and are like, I can't feel it. You need to peel the flock back from the carrier to be able to feel the texture if you already have the color swatches for all the flock material. But I'm going to load it onto my roll holder, and then I'm going to feed the material through. Now in this case, I'm going to lock my pinch rollers down on the sides of the material, and I'm going to tell the material, the cutter rather, I want you to go find the front edge of the material. So it'll measure the width of the material, and then it's going to retract it back to where it has a sensor and find the front edge. So if you're dealing with a small desktop craft cutter, you can certainly cut flock on it. The advantage of these cutters is you're going to be able to cut it in a continuous roll and really be able to maximize your efficiency and your speed. Now, since I've already cut something here, I can always move this cut head to the right of that design because I don't want to waste this material. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to hold the origin command until it flashes on the screen and says origin set. And that's going to be where I want this blade to start cutting, from this left position over to the right. So it's going to have all of this space to be able to cut those designs. If at any point you want to see how much space that is, I'm just going to hold it real quick, and it says that's 14.8 inches. So now my cutter is set up. I've actually got my computer connected through a USB cable directly to my cutter, and we are ready to send the design. So let me do a split screen here. We have our design over to the right. Again, I want to size the material width just to 14 inches to make sure my designs fit. I'm going to auto origin again to get them in the correct position, and then I'll be able to click send cut job. Now, anytime you load a new heat transfer vinyl type like flock, flock is a little bit thicker, so you're going to want to make sure you do test cuts on your cutter until you get it cutting at the correct thickness. In this case, I have a very dull blade on my cutter. I don't change it often. As I told you, I use this. This is my second blade, actually, in the whole 4 years I've been using it, cutting mainly glitter material for dance schools, some reflective material, which wear on the blade. So I'm all the way up on 26 as my downforce. And we recommend with a fresh blade, you start at 13. But either way, I'm going to send my cut job. and it's going to start cutting my design. So again, we're working on the Graphtec CE6000. We're cutting the flock material. Right now it's cutting the football helmet design that I've designed for my nephew with his name in the middle. We're getting ready to weed these and heat apply them to some stuffed animals on our Making It Together live broadcast. Now it's cutting the heart design with my niece's name and the script text that we just welded. All the designs created in CAD-Works, and it's cutting it out of the product. So the nice thing is with this particular machine, you can also load scraps. So the Graphtec is one of my favorite cutters because not only can you do continuous roll lengths, but you can also load scraps. Now, I wasn't lying when I told you that this is the first cut job that I sent from this computer to this cutter. And so actually, I need to fix the rotation on the screen because even though it's showing on the screen horizontally, it's cutting this vertically. So it cut it all, will be fine, but I created a bigger piece of scrap than what I would have liked for my utilization. But either way, it's good enough for our live episode here. I'm going to advance the material out. I'm kind of feeling for this cut line at the edge of the material until it passes this bar where I can trim across the excess material. I have a razor here that comes with the cutter that I can just slide into this groove, slide it across to create a really nice straight line. There's no reason to use scissors and create a jagged line because that creates waste in that process. So again, I'll leave the design up so you can kind of see what we're trying to create. I will grab my scissors right now to trim out the design because I do want to save all of this excess material that's to the side of it. And then I'll cut my designs apart. Normally I'd weed them together, but I want to be able to hold them up and show you a little bit better. And looking for my weeding tool. Wish I had a holster for this thing. Somebody invent that. And let's see, maybe I can point this down. Don't know how good the lighting will be, but at least we'll be able to see it. So at that point, I'm just going to grab the excess material just with my little weeding tool from the edge, and then we start to remove that away. And so flock isn't really a difficult material to weed at all. It tends to like tear and break a little bit because it is more of a fabric based material. But you know, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's still only going to take me a minute to weed a design like this. So just may have to start and stop a little more often with this material. So this is one of our light blue colors. I'll find the exact color name in a moment. Then you take your weeding tool and remove all the center of the designs. Actually did a pretty nice job having all the detail. I just need to remove the excess as well from the edge. And just as easy as that, I've completed that text for my niece. So that's ready to heat apply. And let's go ahead and weed the next one, which will be the football helmet, a little finer detail. So while I'm doing this, if you guys that use flock want to share some of your favorite uses for flock and some of the projects you've done with it, I'd love to hear about them. I know some people just print t-shirts. I tend to like this product on fleece, actually better than normal vinyl. I think it's just a premium. And really from a cost standpoint, it's only about 50% more than normal vinyl. And I know you think that's a lot when it comes to buying the roll, but when you break it down to a design and the perceived value and how much more you can charge for it, I think you'll find that it's actually becomes a profit driver for the business. Look at it in terms of value and what you can sell it for, not necessarily in terms of cost all the time. And you can buy this product in 1 yard cuts as well. So if you just want to try it in some different colors, I'd recommend that. Get it on some different items and give it a shot. So those are weeded. Those are ready to go. Let you get a close-up look at that one. Pretty good detail on that. And we are ready to move over to the heat press. Let me look to make sure there are no comments before we go there. Get back to my full screen. All right. Yeah, that is a well-used blade for sure. Denise, yeah, we have tons of training videos on the Graph Tech. So if there's any particular thing that you're struggling with, maybe shout it out, and we can make sure to direct you to the right video. And use it on fleets and hats for sure. Okay, so great ideas. Let's head over to the heat press and apply it. So again, I've loaded my 7-inch round platen. I've loaded my unicorn, taken the stuffing out. This is from embroiderbuddy.com. You can set up there for a wholesale account and apply. I'm going to go ahead and just check my pressure. Try to protect the poor thing's face here by using a cover sheet. Again, when you're using a smaller platen like a 7-inch round, you need less pressure than you would normally need. You can find all of your application instructions over at Stahls.com. But basically, I preheat. I'm going to position my design into place. Flock tends to hold a little bit. You can feel it kind of sticking here, which is nice so it doesn't move on you. And then I'm going to cover it and heat apply it for the recommended time, temperature, and pressure, which in this case is 330 degrees for 18 seconds. So while that's applying, yeah, beanies with a blank patch already attached on flock, that's a great idea. And you source these from embroiderbuddy.com. So flock is a cold peel material. So once I unlock the press, sorry, it threw me off there. You don't need to unlock the platen, just unlock the press, delicately remove this. I'm going to sit it to the side and let it cool down, but you can see my customizations on there, just waiting to peel the backing. So let's go ahead and grab that football, which I have back here. Just another concept. Again, I'm going to unzip this, remove the stuffing, load my football placement onto the press. Using the Hotronics clam or any heat press with this 7-inch round platen is a great tip. Again, this isn't going to be laundered probably, although it's nice it can unzip and be laundered. So every once in a while you are going to have seams. You're just going to have to fight through those a little bit, increase your pressure a bit. It doesn't show up on your design here. So I will preheat, position my design. I really push the limits of my space with the seam structure. So make sure you measure that in advance. Cover it and heat apply. Going to take the one that's already been pressed, try to expedite the cooling a little bit. Just holding it against the wall, pull the heat out. Yeah, Laura says flock is perfect for blankets, so soft. That's a great use of it. School spirit blankets. You're seeing a lot of the fleece blankets right now, just like the sweatshirt type blankets that can be a good opportunity for you as well. So those are available from Sanmar and several other sources. So once this is cooled down, should be pretty good. I'm going to grab the edge and I'm going to remove the carrier. It's tough to hold it in the air and remove it, but you can kind of see how it works. All right, and then I'm just going to rub my hand over it to get the pile to stand up a little bit. Where I've pressed it, let's go ahead and insert the body back into it so we can get a completed look. And we have a completed result. So really easy to personalize. That 7-inch round platen is going to be your best friend. There are no markings on this. It's really tough to see through the camera, but it looks great. And so I think that this is a profit opportunity for your business. Again, we're using the flock material, which has a fuzzy like feel to it, doesn't feel like vinyl, matches the plush finish of the item that you're decorating. And I want you to think, I mean, yes, we instantly think of baby showers and birthdays and kids' gifts and all of that, but I really want you to think about how you can sell this through into a program alongside a corporate sponsor. So if you have a company that wants to do something in healthcare, especially right now with everything going on, I think this is an opportunity for you to source something, come to bat and say, hey, corporate sponsor, we can put your small logo here. Doesn't have to be with Flock because that would be tough to weed, but we can put your small logo here and stretch litho mat, the product we showed yesterday. And then we can do something that's personalized to the patient, or that is just generalized to the hospital, whatever it may be. And so again, this is the football version. Just press, peel, and I'll insert the, and we have, excuse me. I get all choked up when I talk about personalized plush, but you get the finished result here. So really nice, really soft hand, all sorts of different items. So hopefully that gives you an idea. It is a great opportunity right now. I think Stephanie says it best, is be a great soothing item for tough times. So we led off the episode saying we've created an apparel decorating business survival guide. One of the concepts in there is standing up websites and opportunities to help people out during this time, as well as targeting the different markets that are still operating and available to you. As apparel decorators, I think there's tons of potential still out there. Just use your creativity. Today, we wanted to show you this product from start to finish, all the way from designing to using it. And the thing I would encourage you to do is try Flock during this time. Incorporate it as part of your business moving forward. Want to flash up our survey link one more time for those of you that want to give feedback and tell us what you would like to see in a future Making It Live episode. I read those every day, and it crafts the content that we are creating and delivering to you. So again, I want to thank you for attending. We're coming up on our 50-minute mark, which is what I try to keep these to. I'm going to stick around for a little bit of questions, but for those of you that are ready to get back to printing orders, or maybe ordering some flock over at Stahls.com and trying this stuff, setting up an account with Embroider Buddy, I'd encourage you to go ahead and do that now, and I'll stay around for questions. All right, so Denise says, yeah, husband talked her into getting the graph tech, saying, go big, glad I'd listened. Yeah, it's I've never regretted the graph tech investment that I made about 5 years ago. And I'm telling you, if you know how to calculate cost and price products and sell, you're better off to go with quality equipment. You won't have a hard time generating profit to pay off a package like I have here. This package cost me, I don't know, with materials and everything, probably about $4,000 to get into it. So what I say is, at $10 profit a shirt, that's 400 shirts. Which typically is somewhere around 8 jobs. So if you can sell 8 jobs at 50 shirts each, you can pay off an investment like this very quickly. So we've now shared the link to the survival guide. You're the first ones. It's out. I'm looking for you to find the little Easter egg in there that gives you the free item that I know you're going to want to capitalize on for your business during this time. There was a specific question on the old flock versus the new flock. And the old flock, which was flock 1, or original flock, if you want to call it that, was a polyester-based flock. The new flock is a rayon-based flock. And so what I think that means is brighter colors and a softer plush feel. I think it's a little bit easier to work with in the business, and we've really seen it take off since we launched the new flock. And again, the website is embroiderbuddy.com, and go check it out and tell them you heard about it from us. All right, I think we're about wrapped up on questions, so I want to thank everybody for joining, and we'll be broadcasting live again tomorrow with our Making It Together event. Have a great rest of the day.